Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the next update for my whole collection project pan, and this is going to be probably the most exciting update I've had in any project so far this year. I have a lot of goals hit, so without any further ado, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family, but let's just jump into the products. So as always, I will have all of the links down below to Becky, who created this project, to Emily and Sarah, who have started this kind of collab version of this project, as well as the playlist. So go and check out everyone down below. But like I said, I'm not gonna kind of dwell on everything about this project. I just want to jump straight into the products, and I'm working on 10 products, and I'm gonna start with the eyeshadows that I'm working on in this project. The first one comes from Colourpop, and it comes from the Mint to Be palette, and it is in shade Mojito Mami. I do have it in my little C palette now because I find it easier for me to work on all my singles if they're on here, and since the Colourpop palettes are magnetic, I like putting them in this little kind of C palette. So I have used this shade 7 times in the past month, and this right here is where I was last month, and as you can see, this right here is where I am today. So I was able to hit pan on this eyeshadow, which is very exciting, and like I said, I wore it another 7 times in this month for a total of 15 uses. I really quite like this mint shade. When I first rolled it and I wasn't sure how I would use it, I thought it could be nice as an inner corner shade and obviously all over the lid, and I did use it in both those two ways, and I like pairing it with other greens that I'm panning, as well as some other shades used to kind of transform this eyeshadow. But I really enjoyed working on this eyeshadow, and I feel like I rolled it in at the perfect time of the year, so I'm excited to now have pan on this eyeshadow. The second eyeshadow that I'm working on is also another Colourpop shade. This one is currently in my She palette in the shade Mademoiselle, but it's originally a shade from the Colourpop Element of Surprise palette in the shade Labyrinth, but since I have combined those two palettes, that's why it's in my She palette at the moment. And I have only reached for this 3 times in the past month, but this is where I was in the last update, and this right here is where I am today. So no pan on this eyeshadow yet, and my goal with this is to pan on it. So obviously I will have to roll this over, but I had a lot of mauve tone shades recently in my different panning projects, and I just got really fed up with them, which is why I only reached for this shade 3 times over the past month. I have reached for the 16 times in total though, and there is obviously a little bit of a dip, but I feel like I still have quite a ways to go. But I'm gonna try to pick up my usage again on this mauve shade in the next month and hopefully get some good progress on it. But since I'm so tired of these shades, I'm not sure I'll be able to pan on this in the next month, but I'm really gonna try to. Then the third and final eyeshadow is the only one that I don't have like a gold tip pan on, and it is because it's one of my Cleon eyeshadows. This one is in the shade Chalice, which is one of their hybrid multi-chromes, and I'm happy to report that I actually have used this 15 times now. I did reach for it an additional 7 times in the past month for a total of 15, and this is what the eyeshadow looks like now. There's definitely a bit of usage in it, but this is such a beautiful shade that I definitely don't want to waste it, so I was very careful not kind of overusing this. Or I don't waste eyeshadow in general, but I was specifically careful with this one because I didn't want to use up too much of this eyeshadow. But you can definitely see there's a slight dip in the middle, and also these Cleona shades are normally kind of raised around the edges because it is the stained glass collection, and they kind of raise up above the pan, and I definitely have flattened that out quite a lot working on it over the past 2 months. So 2 out of the 3 eyeshadows in this project are rolling out this month, which is really exciting, and I'm going to continue working on Mademoiselle over the next coming month. The next item that I have is one that has been in this project since the start of the year, and that is my full cover concealer from Makeup Forever. This one I basically now use exclusively as an eye primer, apart from when I want like a white base, because then I use my P. Louise white base. But otherwise I use this every single day as my eyeshadow primer, and that's mainly how I get use out of it. I don't really use it as a concealer because it is a little bit too deep for me as a concealer. It does work underneath my foundation if I have a spot or something like that, but that's the only time I kind of use this, apart from obviously being an eyeshadow primer. And in the past month I have used this 28 times, which is definitely lower than I have in the past month, and that's, like I said, I think that's because I have stopped using it as a concealer, so I mainly used to use it as an eyeshadow primer, and I have worn makeup obviously 28 times then since I filmed this last video, because yeah, I basically use this every single time I do my makeup. But you can see now that that is where my progress lines are, so there's definitely a little bit of progress in here, but it's slowing down quite a lot compared to my first kind of updates. but I mean, I'm fine with that. I think maybe there was some air in there in the beginning and it's quite kind of compact now. I can really feel it, so I think the progress is definitely going to slow down. And this is an item that I'm thinking about maybe taking out at the like half a year refresh, which is going to happen in July. But we'll see. I think it depends on how far down I've gotten with this. If I just have a tiny bit left, I'm going to continue working on it. Otherwise, I might want to take a break from this item. Next up, we're moving on to kind of cheek products. The first item is this blush right here from Benefit. Actually, both of the products are from Benefit, but the first is one of their box powders. So this is the Gold Rush blush, and my goal with this was to use it 50 times. And as of the last update, I only had 4 uses to go, and I'm happy to report that I have used this an additional 4 times. So this is what the pan looks like now. I can definitely see some usage in this now, which is really good. I had not used this blush a lot at all when rolling it in, so it's nice to now have some usage on it and gotten to know it quite a lot better. I really like this blush actually. It's beautiful, it's very kind of light, it's peachy, it's neutral, and I really like this because it goes with a lot of things. So I have discovered this in my collection, and I think I'm going to continue reaching for this every so often. Obviously, I'm panning a different blush and I have a lot of blushes in my collection, but this is definitely more of a favorite now than it used to be. The next blush is also, like I said, from Benefit, but this is one of their kind of tint products, and this one is in the shade Lolly Tint, which is this kind of blue toned kind of pink, like it's almost like a plummy pink kind of shade. It does show up more kind of definitely lighter than this on the cheeks because it shears out quite a lot, but I do quite like this. And again, my goal with this was to use it 50 times, and as of the last update I have used this 31 times, and I'm happy to report that I have used this an additional 19 times for a total of 50 uses, and I can therefore roll this out. So that's very exciting. Both of the blushes that I've been working on are rolling out, so I have another 2 goals hit, which is really exciting, and I can't wait to roll in something to replace this one. The next product is one that I rolled in at the last update, and that is another Benefit product. I don't know why this project loved my Benefit products, because I do have a couple, but I definitely don't have that many. I do guess I have a few kind of cheap products though, which I guess is why they're coming in this category, but I definitely have a lot of other things too, so it's just funny that all of them are Benefit. But anyway, this is the Sunbeam, which is more of a highlighting product. It is quite deep though, and I can definitely not use this as a highlighter at the moment. You can see it right there on the wand, but how I'm using this is to mix this in with my foundation mainly at the moment. I can use this kind of in the cheek area underneath my foundation right now. I know in summer when I have more of a tan, I can definitely reach for this as a highlighter, and I definitely will as well. My goal with this was to reach for it 50 times as well, as most of my kind of usage goals are, but I only reached for it 10 times so far, but I think that's pretty decent, especially since this is too dark for me at the moment. But I'm going to continue reaching for this, and I think this is one that, like I said before, that is going to get more usage when I get a tan in the upcoming months. So the last items are my lip products that I'm working on in this project. I'm going to start with the one that has been in here the longest and then kind of move down the list. So the one that's been in here the longest is the Chanel. This is one of the Rouge Allure inks in the shade Creative. This is like a peachy kind of shade. You can see it right there in the tube. Again, my goal with this is to use it 50 times, and I have reached for this an additional 12 times in the past month for a total of 26 uses. So I am halfway there now, which is really good because the progress on this was very slow in the beginning, but I have reached for it more now, and I feel like I'm going to continue reaching for it more in the next month because it is more of a summery shade. And I definitely think that I don't know if I will be able to roll this out by the next update, but this will definitely be the focus shade, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be able to roll this out in the next update in May. Wait, it's May now. Fuck, it's June next month. Next up, we have the second Chanel lipstick that is in here, which is the Rouge Allure Velvet lipstick in the shade La Raffine. This one, I again had a usage goal of using it 50 times, and as of the last update I had used this 23 times, so I had 27 uses to go, but I have actually used this 27 times in the past month, and I can therefore roll this out. I really love this lipstick. It's a beautiful kind of mauve tone. However, I did have an accident with this lipstick and it actually broke off at the base, but what I did is I actually took out the base and I shoved the lipstick down, so I think it's pretty stable now, but I definitely lost a bit of product, so that's all I have left of this now. I don't mind it too much though, because I have so many lipstick in my collection, and I'm just happy that I was able to save this. But it was a bit of a catastrophe when that happened, but luckily I was able to save what I had left of this product. And honestly, unless I put it in a project, I don't see myself using this up organically anytime soon. So then the very last product that I've been working on is the lip liner from Maybelline. This is one of the Gigi Hadid collabs in the shade Austin, and it's just this really kind of bright vibrant kind of orangey red shade. You can see it right there. And with this one I put a good goal of 30 because I don't use lip liners as much as I do lipsticks, and I don't reapply them as often. So 30 uses on this, and I actually haven't used it at all in the last month. So I have a total of 7 uses from the past month, so not too great, and I was definitely hoping to get to this one and focus on it. But since I was focusing on some other lipsticks, including the Chanel one, I just didn't get around to kind of focusing on this one. But it's definitely going to be another focus shade for me in the next month, and I think this orange tone red will be beautiful to wear now when the sun has started coming out. So that actually means that I've hit goal on 5 out of my 10 products this month, which is really exciting. And I have swatched out kind of the colored items that are still left in here. We have the Mademoiselle shade from Colourpop, we have the Sunbeam highlighter, we have Creative from Chanel, as well as Austin lip liner from Maybelline. So those are the 4 products that are the kind of colored products that are staying in, and then we also have the concealer. So I have my random number generator set up, and currently I have 958 items that I could roll in, and at the moment I don't have 3 of the same category, which means that I could roll in anything to start with. So I'm just going to go ahead and randomize the first number, and that is going to be 823. So 823 should definitely be a lip product, so let's see what that is. Okay, so that's actually quite funny. The shade that I rolled in is Coral Bliss from MAC, which is actually a product that I'm currently panning and I'm currently wearing today, mixed with something else, but I am working on this already, so I will have to go ahead and re-roll. So the actual first number will be 206, which should be an eyeshadow. Okay, so 206 comes from another Colourpop palette, and this is the Through My Eyes palette, and the shade is Lomo. So I'm gonna look what that is later on, but let's go ahead and randomize the second item. And that is 654. So 654 is another eyeshadow, which is my NARS single in the shade Calistro. So that means that we now have 3 eye products that I'm currently working on. So I'm going to go ahead and remove them from the spreadsheet, and then we can go ahead and randomize the rest of the items. So after removing kind of the eye products, and I'm removing like eyeshadows, cream eyeshadows, things like that, but I am keeping in eyeliners, mascaras, other kind of eye products, but use kind of the colored eyeshadows and things that I'm removing. So the start number is now 677, and the max is still 958. So let's go ahead and randomize the next item, and that is going to be 888. Okay, so 888 is one of my KVD Beauty liquid lipsticks in the shade Ophelia. So that is the 3rd lip product that I'm now working on. So I have 3 eyeshadows and 3 lip products. So I'm also going to remove my lip products now from the spreadsheet, and we're going to go ahead and randomize the last items. So the max has now gone down to 782, because that is the last product that I have before my lip product starts. So I do have 2 items left to randomize, and I'm going to go ahead and pick those. So the first one will be 684. Okay, so 684 is one of my eyeliners, and this one comes from Rimmel, and it's in the top shade. I don't think it has an actual name, I think it's just taupe. But that is going to be the 4th item, and then the final item that I'm rolling in is number 697. So 697 is my Anastasia brow gel. It's just a clear brow gel. So those were the 5 items that I'm going to roll in, so I'm going to go ahead and pick those out, and I will be right back. So I'm back, and I have my 5 products that I rolled in with me, and the first one comes from my Through My Eyes palette, and it is the Colourpop and I Love Sarah E collaboration. I love this palette, it's one of my favorite Colourpop palettes, and the shade that I rolled in is Lomo. So let's go ahead and see what shade that is. Okay, so it is this bright red right here. So it's definitely one of the brighter shades in the palette, but I'm sure that I can make this work. So that is the first shade that I'm rolling in. So there you have the swatch of Lomo. It's a beautiful kind of pinky red. I really think that will be beautiful to incorporate, especially now when we go into like warmer weather and I'm going to do more kind of warm tone looks. I think you can definitely create like sunset eye looks with this and maybe a yellow. So I really like that, and I definitely think I'm going to get some use out of it. The next item that I rolled in is my NARS single in the shade Calistro. This is one of the dual intensity eyeshadows, and this is a beautiful shade. It's probably my favorite like single eyeshadow that is in like a single department like this, because it's just this beautiful kind of silver shade, but it's such a unique tone. It's swatched down here. I would say, swatching it out now, I think it's quite similar to, I think it's Cyborg. Is it Cinder? Cyborg, I think it is, in the Sultry palette, the silver in there. It's quite similar to that, but it's just like a beautiful kind of taupey silver with like a almost pink undertone, and I think it's a stunning shade. So that's going to be really fun to incorporate as well, and I might even be able to incorporate these two in like a fun kind of look as well, or maybe pair this on top of that one. So I think these are going to be really nice eyeshadows to add into this project. And of course, with my eyeshadows, my goal is to pan on them. The next item I rolled in that I'm going to talk about is my liquid lipstick. So this one again is from KVD Beauty, and it is in the shade Ophelia, which is this kind of brownie peach nude, I would say. And I'm actually quite excited to roll this in because I have really been neglecting my liquid lipsticks, and I was actually thinking about doing a declutter of them very soon. But this is definitely a shade that I think I will reach for a lot. And therefore I'm going to put the goal of 50 of this. I usually put 30 for my liquid lipsticks, but since this is a beautiful kind of nude shade and I think I can reach for this quite often, I'm still going to put the usage goal of 50, which I might regret in the future, but it is a stunning shade. I have swatched it out right here, and I think it would be nice to kind of mix with other things, like mix with lipsticks or just wear on its own. And I really want to get more usage out of my liquid lipsticks, especially the ones that I like. So 50 uses on this it is. Then the last product I have is the eyeliner from Rimmel. This is the Scandal Waterproof Kohl Kajal in the shade Taupe. This one I have not really used that much. You can see the pencil is very big, and I don't think I will be able to use this up. It will take way too long. So I was thinking about what gold to put on this, if I should put a usage gold or like what I want to do with it. But I think what I have decided to do is I want to use this enough to sharpen it down to the kind of lettering. I don't want to go past it, but I just want to sharpen it down to lettering, so it's kind of head to head with the start of the word scandal, if you can see that right there, but it's the top of the header. So yeah, that's what I want to do. So it's still going to take me quite a while, I think. But I think this is a beautiful kind of shade. I actually haven't reached for this that much. It's swatched right there, but it's a beautiful kind of taupey shade, as the name would suggest, and it's still so creamy, although it is a couple years old in my collection. It still smells fine. I don't think it has gone off, and obviously since it still is very creamy, I don't think it's anywhere near to drying out either. So I'm going to play around with this, but my goal with that is to sharpen it down to the word scandalize. So those were kind of all of the colored items that I rolled in, and then the very last item that I rolled in is my clear brow gel from Anastasia. The packaging has all rubbed off, as you can see. I don't have kind of much left in this, I think, either. I do love this. It's the only kind of clear brow gel that I have in my collection, and it's probably the one that I would always repurchase. I have recently started doing the soap brow effect, which is also what I'm wearing today on my eyebrows a lot, and therefore I have neglected this, but I will still put the goal to use this up, I think, because it is getting a bit older in my collection. I would rather kind of replace this with a fresh one, and I don't really know what else I would do with this, like what gold to put on it, so I think I'm gonna put the gold to use this up. And that, you guys, was it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed it. This is the new color story that I'm working on. Sorry about the like crooked swatches right there, but I think it's gonna be beautiful. I think this kind of eyeshadow here kind of falls into almost the lips product category, so if I want to do a monochrome look, I think this will pair really well with the creative lipstick right there. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to check out the playlist linked down below. And otherwise, I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye guys!